What's up, guys? So tonight, we're gonna be doing the front pads and rotors on this Caddy. It's a 2013 Cadillac CTS with a 3.6. All we're doing is front pads and rotors. It's got a pretty good pulsation when getting on the brakes, like coming off the highway at high speeds. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and hang and bang this thing. Just thought I'd record it, and why not make a video, right? So I'm gonna start by taking off the wheels. These lugs are gonna be a 22 mil. My baby's asleep, so I can't use my impacts or anything, so I'm gonna do everything by hand tonight. But yeah, I'll update you guys when I get the wheels off. Alrighty, so we got the wheels off. We got the jack stands on the lift points right there. It's pretty hard to miss if you're looking for them. So we got the wheels off. Our first step is going to be taking out this rotor bolt. Usually you could use an impact driver for it, not an impact gun. About like an impact wrench that you can hit with a hammer and it'll knock it loose. I do have one, but I mean, if you're working with what you got, you could always just throw a screwdriver in the vent right here. Bloop. That's just one of my cheap screwdrivers. It's going to be a T30, a Torx bit. Should look something like that there. You're going to go ahead and put that puppy on there, and that screwdriver is going to stop the rotor from turning, and it's going to let you take that off without any sort of impact. So don't hit this with a gun or anything. You will strip it and your day's gonna suck. So yeah, there's that. Next we're gonna take off the caliper. Yeah, I'll get back when we're there. Alrighty, so we gotta take off these caliper bolts now. I already loosened them all up. It's going to be a 14 millimeter to go ahead and put on there. Okay, and then if fortunately these on this side, these slider pins were not didn't budge, and I was able to break the bolts loose. But sometimes these slider pins keep spinning with the bolt, so you can go ahead and put a little crescent on there like so to hold it, and go ahead and get your wrench on here and just go, push them against each other, and it'll pop out. These aren't torqued like crazy, so, or they shouldn't be anyways. So yeah, that's that. I'll go ahead and remove this caliper, hang it up over here, and get these brakes off, and then we'll get the bracket off. Okay, we went ahead and got these bolts out for the bracket here. I just got this top one hanging us in there. Yeah, nothing to it. These are just 18s. There's one and then two right here, which I already took out. They got some Loctite on them, so they're gonna take some oomph to get out. But that's pretty much it right there. Nothing crazy. Get this off, and we'll switch out our hardware and stuff, and yeah, that'll be that. Alrighty, so we're back the next day. We got the rotors off. We had to hit them off, so I couldn't hit them off last night because everyone was asleep. So I just got a hammer and hit it from the back. Of course, if you're gonna cut the rotors, put a piece of wood on the rotor and then hit the wood so that you don't damage the rotor. That's what I've always done to get the rotors off without damaging them. If you're gonna cut them, I wasn't gonna cut them, so I just went to town, popped it off. You can see that it's pretty rusty on here, and it was really bad. So I already took some emery cloth to this one. I'll probably go a little bit more. If you don't know what emery cloth is, it's basically like a real gritty sandpaper, a real fine sandpaper. And so yeah, just get up in there, get all that rust off. You don't want the new rotor to sit on there funky. So when I got all the rust off, make sure you spray it off, because that emery cloth can get stuck on the pads, and man, it really makes noise. Yeah, get some brake clean or something to get all that crap off, that rust. once you sand it off. And then we'll go ahead and clean off the new rotors with some brake clean. Got my new rotors over there. Go ahead and clean off the new rotors with some brake clean and paper towel. Get all that crap off, all the oils, and yeah, throw everything back together. Alrighty, so we got our rotors on. We got them all cleaned off with brake clean on both sides. We got our bolts in, our screws for the rotor. They're just hand tight right now. We'll tighten them when we get the bracket back on and we could hold the rotor. Now we're gonna go ahead and compress the caliper. I have the tool to do so. If you don't have a compressor tool to push the pistons back in, you can actually rest it back on whenever you're ready, whenever you have the bracket on, or whenever, before you even take the caliper off. You could actually get a screwdriver in there and push the pistons back individually. But you're way better off just using a tool. You're not gonna break anything. Yeah, it's just way easier. They have cheap ones of these for like 12 bucks, and you're gonna use it again eventually. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and set that puppy in there and get going. So, let's see, I can see if I can do it on. You're just gonna wanna go nice and slow. I've seen people push these back too far and jack up the ABS modules, or too fast too, just like yanking on this thing, jack up one of the valves. About how fast I always go. You can never be too safe. It's not worth, you know, the 2 minutes isn't worth the whole jack up, you know what I mean? So we're gonna do this to both sides. We're just go until it stops. Right there. Bam. Got a compressed caliper. I'm gonna go ahead and do it to the other side, and we'll get that bracket on and put our pads in. Call it a day. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the hardware on real quick on our. So these ones shouldn't have any specific sides. They all look the same relatively. And these are the old rusty ones. I like just getting, usually most of the pads I get come with new hardware. So there's really nothing special about it. You just want to make sure nothing's sticking out and everything sits in there. Like you could put this, you know what I mean? You could put it a little crooked, but it won't go on. It won't let you go on right here. So you just go ahead and snap it in like that. Flies are bothering me. That's it. Make sure everything clears good. Nothing's gonna hit your rotor. Take the other one out. Put that guy in here. Again, just make sure everything sits properly, nice and flat. Nothing's gonna hit the rotor. Boom, bam. Thank you, man. Make sure these guys aren't seized up at all. I usually don't take these out and lube them if they're already looking good. Make sure the boots are all good. They're not cut. Not getting rusty. Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll do it to the other side and start putting these puppies back together. Okay, we got the pads in. We got our bracket on nice and tight. Those two guys. These pads have an inner and an outer. The only difference is the screecher always goes in the back. Even if they're not labeled inner and outer, the screecher always goes in the back. And it also always goes, how do you put it? I guess on the leading end of the pad. So if the rotor's constantly turning forward, right? Because like 95% of the time you guys are going forward, the screecher is going to be at the bottom on this side. And of course at the on the bottom of the other as well. So So that way when you hit the pads, this thing is going to contact and make noise, right? That's the idea anyways. It's kind of a weird explanation, but that's the point. Screecher goes in the back. Then we're going to get these calipers on, everything tightened up, and go for a test drive. Okay, I'm going to finish the video up here. We got these guys nice and tight. Again, if it starts to spin on you, just put your crescent on there, go ahead and tighten it. These don't need to be crazy tight. You will break it if you go too hard on them. You'll notice there's some slack in your caliper here. Make sure you pump your brakes before you go and drive them. Pump the pedal until it gets hard with the car off. Oh, I guess the last thing would be we are going to go ahead and put that guy in there and tighten up our little nut, our little bolt here. Okay, these don't need to be crazy tight, just nice and snug. Then the next person isn't going to be able to get them off. So, all right, that's that. Those are the brakes on a 2013 Caddy CTS. Whatever, hope it helped someone out. Laters.